Do you feel it? That silence pressing on your chest, the weight of eyes you can't see but you know are there. They don't chase you. They don't need to. They just wait, watching, studying, feeding on the little cracks in your armor. And every time you breathe, every time you hesitate, they know they're not after you to destroy you. No, they want something much better. They want to recruit you into their circus of control. You think you're free. Huh. Freedom is a trick. It's a painted mask over rusted chains. The streets, the jobs, the routines, they look ordinary, but they are cages shaped like comfort. You live in patterns written long before you even thought of fighting back. And still, deep down, you feel it. That itch, that whisper, that crawling sensation that tells you this isn't me. This isn't the life I was meant to play. Do you know what makes them smile? Not your mistakes, not your failures, but your obedience. That quiet little nod when you swallow your rage. That polite smile when you know you're dying inside. That's what they feed on, 'cause the loud rebel is easy to crush. But the silent one, the broken one who keeps playing along, that's the masterpiece of their design. But let me tell you a secret. They underestimate silence. They think silence is weakness. They think it means surrender. But silence, silence is the storm before the riot, the calm before the glass shatters. Silence is where the real war begins. Because when you stop talking and start watching back, when you stop reacting and start plotting, oh, that's when the roles shift. And here you are, listening, not by accident, not by coincidence, because something inside you has already started watching back. Something in you refuses to play their game anymore. The itch became a spark. The spark is turning into fire. And once that fire spreads, nothing, absolutely nothing can put it out. Now tell me, are you brave enough to admit it? Or will you keep nodding, keep obeying, keep pretending? Because if you've heard me this far, it's too late already. You're not being recruited anymore. You're the one recruiting yourself into chaos. And chaos, my friend, chaos never asks for permission. It takes. You ever notice how they teach you to smile just enough, speak just enough, dream just enough, but never much? That's not a coincidence. That's a program. A quiet little lullaby wrapped in deadlines and be realistic speeches. They whisper rules like honey dripping from a blade, and you drink it because it tastes sweet until it cuts your tongue. They're not afraid of your noise. They're afraid of your awakening. That moment when you stop asking for a seat at their table and start flipping the whole table over. I've seen it. That flicker in the eyes of the underestimated. That slow shift from victim to weapon. They call it arrogance. They call it madness. But I call it birth. The birth of someone who stops needing permission. Someone who stops waiting for a savior. Someone who realizes the power players only exist because you keep playing. And once you stop playing, the game crumbles like old paper under fire. They tell you chaos is dangerous, that it's wrong, that it's a poison. But look closer. Chaos isn't destruction, it's possibility. It's the crack in the wall, where light slips in. It's the shiver before you leap. They build order to keep you small, to keep you predictable. But unpredictability, that's your edge. That's your weapon. That's the mask they'll never see coming. I'm not here to pat your back. I'm here to push you off the ledge you've been staring at for years. Because the only way to learn to fly is to stop worshiping the ground. Stop rehearsing excuses. Stop memorizing their lines. Tear the script. Burn it. Rewrite your own. In your voice. In your chaos. And when you do, oh, when you do, the silence you once feared becomes your anthem. Every glance, every step, every breath becomes a move they didn't plan for. You're not the pawn anymore. You're the ghost in their system, the anomaly they can't calculate, the one who doesn't blink. Tell me, do you feel it yet? That shift, that quiet cracking sound under your skin, that's you waking up. That's you breaking patterns they thought were unbreakable. That's you becoming someone they'll whisper about but never see coming. They built a maze for you, not with walls or doors, with routines, with labels, with invisible lines that tell you how far you're allowed to go. They tell you it's safety. They tell you it's order. But really, it's a playground for their control. You think you're running free, but you're running circles, running laps inside their design. And they watch, always, not with cameras, with results, with compliance, with how easily you hand over your will. But here's the truth they'll never say out loud. There's a version of you they can't predict, a version you've buried so deep under deadlines, bills and fake smiles that even you forgot it existed. That version doesn't bow, doesn't beg, doesn't wait for a cue. It doesn't live in their maze. It burns mazes down. It's been whispering to you in your sleep. It's been showing up in your daydreams. It's the pulse behind your boredom, the flicker behind your rage, the hunger you keep denying. They think that version of you is gone. They think the system broke you, pacified you, neutered your fight, but they don't know what's crawling under your skin. They don't know the silence isn't fear, it's incubation, it's heat, it's the weight of a storm before it hits. You're not their follower anymore. You're the blueprint they forgot they were creating. So what happens when you stop being predictable? When you stop walking their path and start walking through walls? That's when their power begins to rot. That's when their certainty turns to panic. Because power players don't know what to do with someone who isn't playing, someone who smiles at their trap, someone who doesn't flinch when they pull strings. You've been lied to, manipulated, shaped, but every cut made you sharper. Every cage made you faster. Every silence made you louder. You're not becoming like them. You're becoming something they can't understand, something they can't recruit, something they can't stop. Now look in the mirror, not at your reflection, at the shadow behind it, the one that's always been waiting, the one that doesn't blink. That's who you are. That's who's been watching back, and that's who they're about to meet. They taught you to be polite, to stay soft, to play nice. While they sharpened their knives behind closed doors, they wanted you to confuse kindness with weakness, to think silence means surrender. But here's the twist. Silence is an ambush, and kindness, when aimed with precision, is a blade sharper than their steel. Every smile you gave them, every nod, every yes they mistook for obedience, all of it was you taking notes, learning their rhythm, memorizing their cracks. This isn't about rage anymore. This is about strategy, about becoming the player they never trained you to be. You don't need to roar to be a threat. You don't need to shout to be heard. You move in shadows now. You move in whispers. They call it manipulation. You call it survival. They call it rebellion. You call it waking up. Each step you take now isn't noise. It's a trick. It's a clock ticking closer to their collapse. Do you feel how different you are now? That heartbeat isn't panic. It's precision. That tension in your hands isn't fear. It's ignition. You've shifted from prey to predator without even raising your voice. You've become the thing they hoped would never exist. The one who sees through the script but still smiles at the actors. The one who laughs in the quiet because they know the end of the play before it's spoken. They wanted you to forget yourself, to dissolve into routine. But instead, you've built an edge, so sharp, it cuts their illusions without effort. They don't know yet. They still think you're asleep. But when you move, When you finally move, every piece on their board will scatter like glass dropped from a tower. And in that moment, you won't need revenge, you won't need applause. You'll just stand there steady, watching them watch you, realizing too late that you were never the pawn. You were always the storm, always the silence, always the one with the last move. Now tell me, can you taste it? That charge in the air, that heavy stillness before something breaks. That's you right now, standing on the edge of who you were and who you're about to become. They built your fear like architecture, brick by brick, whisper by whisper. Every time you doubted yourself, they added another wall. Every time you hesitated, they carved another door that only they could open. You didn't even notice. You called it life. You called it normal. But it wasn't life. It was a script you were handed at birth. A script designed to keep you small, predictable, silent. And you played your part so well they almost believed you'd never change it. But walls crack, scripts burn, and fear isn't permanent. It's a fuse. The same fear they planted in you can become the power they can't control. Because when fear flips, when you stop running from it and start running with it, it becomes speed, it becomes heat, it becomes clarity. You see sharper, move faster, strike cleaner, and they don't see it coming because they still think you're afraid. This is where you stop apologizing for your hunger. This is where you stop hiding your edge, that ache in your chest, that quiet defiance in your stare. It's not weakness, it's a signal, it's a warning. It's the sound of steel sharpening under your skin. They wanted a follower, they built a fighter. They wanted obedience, they built obsession. They wanted silence, they built a storm. And here's the real chaos. You don't even need to scream, you don't need a crowd. Power doesn't shout, power whispers and still rattles the. Power is a single step in the wrong direction at the right time. Power is the moment you stop asking how and start saying now. You're not breaking their rules anymore. You're rewriting the concept of rules. You're not breaking out of their cage. You're learning how to make the cage irrelevant. That's the shift. That's the birth. That's the moment they start to see you as something other than a name in their file. That's when they whisper to each other and don't even know why they're nervous. And when that day comes, you won't feel like a rebel. You'll feel like an architect, building something they can't even imagine. You'll feel like a mirror they can't look into without shattering. And that's when you'll know you're no longer reacting to their game. You've become the game. They always warned you about chaos, told you it was dangerous, told you it would eat you alive, but they never told you the full truth. Chaos isn't just destruction. Chaos is a key, a door, a new map to places they said didn't exist. It's the flicker in your chest right before you act. It's the tremor in the air before something impossible happens. They built order to keep you tame. But order is a leash. Chaos is a blade. Look at the moments that shaped you. The times everything fell apart. The nights that burned your sleep. The betrayals that cracked your heart. Those weren't ends. They were detonations. Each one left you raw, yes. But each one left you different. Stronger, harder, smarter. They tried to break you. But in the rubble you learned how to build yourself sharper than steel. That's the secret. That's the truth they never wanted you to learn. Chaos is your ally when you stop fearing it. When you stop running from it, when you take it in your hands and hold it still. It teaches you how to bend, how to vanish, how to strike without warning. You stop being a pattern. You become a ghost, a glitch, a movement no one can track. They're still playing chess. You're already outside the board. They will call you reckless. They will call you mad, but that's their language for what they can't control. They called every unpredictable mind reckless before it rewrote the rules. They called every silent rise madness before it became inevitable. Their words are fences. Break them, step over them, Step through them. They're just noise. And when you embrace chaos, you don't scream. You don't burn everything. You choose, you sculpt, you turn chaos into shape, like fire turned into glass. Precision in the wild. Focus in the storm. That's where your edge becomes lethal. That's where their plans stop working. That's where you stop being the watched and start being the one who watches. Feel that pulse now, that twitch in your fingers, that electricity running up your spine. That's chaos reaching for you, not to destroy you, but to crown you, to make you untouchable, to make you unreadable, to make you exactly what they feared you'd become from the very beginning. They don't need to lock you in a cell. They don't even need to touch you. All they need is your attention, your scrolling, your sighs, your little nods of agreement. They build cages out of distractions, out of noise, out of false rewards. Every time you react without thinking, you're writing them a map of your mind. And every map is a weapon, a blueprint of how to control you. But once you see the map, once you learn the lines, you can redraw it. You can burn it. Psychological warfare isn't soldiers or smoke. It's tiny decisions. It's invisible contracts. You sign every time you compromise. Every time you delay your own rise. Every time you choose silence when your gut is screaming to move. They don't want to fight you. They want you to fight yourself. They want you to build your own walls so they can stand outside clean and quiet while you trap yourself. But that's ending now. You're not a predictable rhythm anymore. You're not a data point. You're not a code to be cracked. You've started to see the string. You've started to feel the patterns before they happen. That's why they're nervous. That's why they're tightening their grip. Because their systems don't know what to do with someone who's awake. Someone who doesn't click where they want. Someone who doesn't speak when they cue. Now it's your move. Not just to resist, to build, to rewire your own mind. To turn every weakness into a blade. Every trigger into a signal. Every moment they thought you were asleep into a silent training ground. You're not reacting anymore. You're rehearsing, preparing, crafting. And when you strike, it won't look like an attack. It won't even look like movement. It'll be a shift, a pause, a single choice they didn't see coming. Because real power isn't noise, it's precision. Real power doesn't announce itself. It just appears, and everything changes. Do you feel it now? That quiet power under your skin. That slow rising certainty that no matter how they twist the game, you're not in it anymore. You're above it, watching them scramble, watching them lose control, watching them realize you were never their subject. You were always their mirror. Masks. They told you masks were lies. They told you to always be yourself. But that was their trap. They wanted to see you naked, unarmored, predictable. They wanted to read every flicker of your face, every pulse of your mood, because a bare mind is an open book. A mask, though, a mask is power. A mask isn't a lie. It's a choice. It's strategy. It's freedom. Think of the predators they fear most. None of them walk in shouting their name. They slip in. They blend. They watch. They choose who they want to be until the exact moment they reveal themselves. That's not weakness. That's survival. That's chess played in shadows. That's how you build a presence they can't define. A ghost they can't capture. A mask isn't hiding. A mask is shaping. They'll call you fake. They'll call you manipulative. But that's their code for I can't read you anymore. And when they can't read you, they can't control you. Every persona you build is a weapon. Every role you play is a tact. Every version of you they think they've figured out is just another decoy, another mirror, another layer of armor. This isn't about losing yourself. This is about becoming bigger than oneself, becoming flexible, becoming unreadable, becoming a story they can't fit. When you master the mask, you stop being a character in their plot. You become the author. You decide how much to show, how much to hide, when to reveal, when to strike. And when you take off the mask, not for them, but for yourself, you'll see it clearly. You're not weak. You're not invisible. You're not broken. You're a storm inside a quiet shell, a loaded weapon behind a calm smile, a legend in rehearsal. Feel that tension in your breath, that cold calm in your stare. That's what they've been trying to erase since the beginning. That's what they're afraid of. Not chaos, not rebellion, but you. A you they can't predict. A you they can't cage. A you wearing 1,000 masks, and yet more real than you've ever been. They taught you that silence means weakness, that stillness means surrender, that if you aren't loud, you aren't powerful. But that's another illusion. Noise is easy. Anyone can scream. Anyone can rage. Silence, though. Silence is a weapon. It's a bullet without sound. It's a blade without flash. It's the moment before the strike when the world holds its breath. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't ask for permission. It moves quietly. It moves clean. It moves when the room thinks nothing's about to happen. You've felt that power before. When you walked away from chaos and the chaos fell apart without you. When you stopped speaking and they started guessing. When you didn't react and their plans collapsed under their own weight. That's what they're afraid of. Not your noise, your restraint, not your rebellion, your precision. They can predict a shout. They can't predict a pause. They can map a riot. They can't map a stare that doesn't blink. Silence is not hiding. It's studying. It's sharpening. It's waiting for the exact second to move. You don't win by echoing them. You don't win by matching their tempo. You win by shifting the rhythm, by making every action deliberate, by making every silence echo louder than any scream. When you speak, they'll know it's the last sound before the world changes. When you move, they'll know it's too late to stop it. And when you master silence, you master presence. Rooms bend around you. Conversations slow down. People second guess themselves before they even talk. They can't explain it. They just feel it. That pressure, that weight, that sense that something is about to happen. That's your power. That's your signature. That's your quiet chaos. Walking into their order. Do you see it now? The stillness isn't emptiness. It's your edge. It's your preparation. It's your rebellion. Wrapped in calm. It's the sound of everything they built, trembling under the weight of someone they can't measure, someone they can't provoke, someone who isn't just playing the game anymore, someone who's already rewritten it. They thought you were asleep. They thought the routine had swallowed you whole. They thought the screens, the noise, the endless grind would bury the part of you that still burns. But here you are, watching, breathing differently, thinking sharper. You're not a statistic anymore. You're not a pawn they shuffle from one square to another. You're the hand tipping the board. Every scar you carry is a code. Every failure is a map. Every silence you've held has been a seed growing in the dark. You've been collecting patterns, rehearsing moves, sharpening edges. They saw a victim. You were building an arsenal. They saw a follower. You were learning the terrain. They saw compliance. You were gathering intelligence. This is where you stop asking, stop waiting, stop playing small. This is where you take the watcher's seat, where you turn their tactics back on them, where you start bending the room instead of bending to it. You are not the watched anymore. You're the one who watches. You're the one who sees the weak point. You're the one who moves first without moving at all. When you reach this point, you don't even crave revenge. You don't crave recognition. You crave mastery over yourself, over your patterns, over the chaos that once scared you but now bows to you. You crave the quiet satisfaction of moving through their systems like a ghost. Unstoppable, untouchable, unknown. And that's the secret they never wanted you to find. You don't have to become them to beat them. You just have to become you, the real one, the hidden one, the one who doesn't blink, doesn't beg, doesn't break, the one who knows power doesn't live in noise. Power lives in presence. Now feel it, that fire in your veins, that pulse in your hands, that quiet certainty in your chest. This isn't the end of the script. This is the beginning. You've stopped being their story. You've started being the author. And every move from here on out is yours.